Back in Cirith Ungol, and Gollum shows Frodo the final tunnel. Just through there, he says. Book 3. Frodo is hesitant, but knowing he still has 3 chapters to go, sets out at a stumble. Halfway down the stairs, Sam finds the lembas bread that Gollum threw away. As he picks it up, realization dawns. He didn't eat the bread after all. Gollum was obviously very convincing. And Sam has a decent appetite even for a hobbit. When he was a younger hobbit, he often ate in his sleep. So he wasn't absolutely sure he was innocent. He sets off after his master, who is in the tunnel calling for Smeargol, and just now realising that he is in doo-doo. Spider doo-doo in this case, as the light of Elendil reveals the hulking shape of Shelob, daughter of Ungoliant, and big-assed Arachnid. Frodo suddenly realises why the cave smells of orc dung. Running away so fast that he leaves little hobbit-shaped holes in the webs, he comes across Gollum, who ambushes him and tries to get the ring. But Frodo can almost see the Tower of Cirith Ungol and Book 3, and with a burst of energy throws Gollum off a handy clifflet. Back at the battle, the riders of Rohan arrive and prepare to charge. Theoden rides along the line of men, chopping their spearheads off with his sword, until his assistant suggests that he use the flat of the blade. There's not too much to say about the next few minutes. Elephants, horses, men with painted faces, dwarves and magicians. Be just like the circus. The circus performers went round heavily armed and tried to kill each other. Finally comes the scene with Theoden lying, dying under Snowmane, his horse, and the Witch King of Angmar ordering his slavering, scaled, darkened beast, Pookums, to kill him. Eowyn rises to the fray, and the Witch King makes the final mistake of a long career in evil. He patronises her. He says he cannot be killed by a man. Merry, male but not a man, stabs him with a blade not made by the men of Westerness, and Eowyn, whipping off her helmet to demonstrate her femininity because it's too hard to unbutton a chainmail vest, stabs him in the head. He dies noisily. Aragorn arrives with his army of ghosts, who never got this far in the book. But in the film, their agents have negotiated a much more lucrative speaking role for the ghost leader and for the glowing green army to appear at the Pelennor. This proves convenient, as the unstoppable ghost army mow down every orc and elephant in their path. At Helm's Deep, they had an army of elves, and at Pelennor, an army of ghosts. But where was the army of dwarves? What is this inability to put dwarves on screen? Speciesist, that's what it is! Sorry. The battle is finished. The ghosts are released. Frodo is finally on the track to the tower, with his gaze fixed firmly on Book 3. He fails to see the rhinoceros-sized spider above him, even with 1 billion arachnophobes around the world screaming, "Look out behind you!" while covering their eyes. He is stung by Shelob and wrapped in webbing. Is this the end of our hero? No! Here comes Sam! Finally, a fight he understands. He has battled trolls and orcs and uruks and goblins and felt that he wasn't really cut out for it. But this is just a big bug. And to a 3-foot-high, heavily armed gardener, this is nothing. Back home, Sam regularly wrestled with locusts the size of a cow. And who can forget the giant aphid plague of 46? Sam is in his element and kicks the stuffing out of Shelob. He then runs over to Frodo and tears off the webbing from his face. Up until now, one of the features of the hobbits is how dirty they always are. But Frodo pale and apparently dead in the webbing, is also strangely clean. Either the poison of Shelob is so virulent that it has bleached the dirt on his face, or she's already licked him clean in preparation for eating. Yeah. Sam believes his friend to be dead and hides at the approach of orcs. He overhears them explain that Shelob only stuns her victims, and Frodo is carried off to the tower by Shagrat, which is Orcish for walks as if he has giant piles. Frodo awakes in the tower, surrounded by orcs who have kindly replaced the dirt on his face. Within the borders of Mordor, stripped of his mithril coat and missing the ring, Frodo doesn't care because finally he has reached Book 3! Sam assaults the tower and kills one orc for every name he can remember. The survivors flee, thanking the orcish gods that Sam hadn't brought his address book. Frodo is freed and the hobbits begin the last lap through Mordor, dressed as tiny orcs. Back in Gondor, and the gang discuss tactics. They decide that the only useful thing they can do is act as a distraction and draw Sauron's troops out of Mordor to give Frodo a sporting chance. Legolas suggests that one of them should dress up as a giant flaming eye with mascara and long lashes to distract Sauron further. He adds that there's no need to look at him like that. Used to work in the Bugs Bunny cartoons he watched. Aragorn tells him not to be silly and instead marches the 76 remaining survivors in a frontal assault on the third most evil thing in the history of Middle-earth and his vast army. They arrive at the Black Gate, which is closed. Slightly shocked by the scale of the thing, Aragorn is thinking, it might be better just to knock and run away. But it's too late. The plan works, and the gate opens. Up on the hill overlooking the plains of Mordor, Sam and Frodo watch the army leave. They are a long way away from the torches, and yet the torches seem to be moving at a fair pace. Sauron must finally have got around to mounting his orcs on Harleys. Knowing how far behind the plot he is, Frodo gallops across the plains to Mount Doom. Halfway up the slopes, Gollum reappears and attacks the hobbits. The tension is high, as are both the hobbits, after weeks in the wild without a bath. Gollum takes his life in his hands by biting Sam without first wiping him with Dettol. But finally, Frodo staggers to the cracks of Doom themselves and stands where Isildur stood there many years ago. But it's too late. The ring has finally gotten control of the valiant hobbit. He claims the ring is his and puts it on, turning both himself and his layer of dirt invisible. Gollum leaps past Sam and bites off Frodo's finger, and the two struggle on the lip of Doom. As Gollum stumbles backwards with the ring and plummets, he is finally happy. It is his turn for a song. As he's plummeting, he sings the Gollum song. The Gollum song. Love is a burning thing, and I love a fiery ring. Bound by wild desire, I fell in love with a ring of fire. I fell in love with the burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames got higher, and it burns precious Gollum! This ring of fire, this ring of fire, the taste of fish's sweet splash sizzle. Sauron explodes, and Mordor is trashed by a very precise earthquake. Much cheering. Aragorn is crowned. More cheering. Everyone goes home. Except Gollum. Nothing is scoured, no bits of the Shire are burned, and no wizards were killed in the making of this film. Finally, we find Frodo and Bilbo in a cart heading for the Grey Havens. Galadriel, Elrond and Celeborn and Gandalf are there, having signed up for an Elven Club 1800 to 3500 cruise. Galadriel, still smirking, boards the boat with Celeborn, Elrond and Bilbo. Círdan the shipwright, a notoriously camera-shy elf, hides in the boat shed. He is pissed off because he couldn't get a part in the movie and has forbidden the elves to take pets on board. But they take the hobbits anyway. If you think this was hard, you should have seen much later the trouble Legolas had getting Gimli through the elven customs, immigration and quarantine. Now, I thought it appropriate to end this rambling dissertation about the books and the movies with a song about the most common complaint shared with me about the books and the movies. Now, I'd like to point out at this point, as Phil lolls there like an orcish centrefold, that I thought the books were brilliant and I thought the movies were brilliant. And if I mock, it's only with love. And we should also have a round of applause for absent friends at this point, the two people without whom we wouldn't be able to have this show, J.R.R. Tolkien, the author of the century, and Peter Jackson, the man who shot J.R.R. But I'll finish with this song, which is written for those people who haven't read the books before they went into the cinema, and so were unprepared perhaps for what was about to happen. And this, as I've said, is the most common complaint I got. It's dedicated to all those people who came out of the end of the movie with their imaginations fired and their legs crossed.